comfortable. The rain or fire sound is here, and so is tonight's story. Before we begin, where are you listening from? And is this helping you sleep? Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss our future narrations. I thought I unlocked Yuki. DoorDash said they'd knock. The message glowed from my phone on the counter as the rice cooker beeped. I pinched sweat from my lip, reading the ping. Left at door, via code leave with porter. My couch knew how many phone touches by habit old. 3 inconsistencies surfaced. The man on my building's intercom spoke English once on arrival and Portuguese later replay. My clean kitchen air had a new permanent sweetness, like fruit forgotten in direct sun. Everyone said flowers from the previous owner's funeral were under the floor, that it stank bad when they were changing the carpets last year. Our plumber said sewer gas snakes, trapped beneath, always get stronger. Once wives finally push buyer's tour, painting every hallway insult against unentered roots, attempting migration. I remember thinking the knocking wasn't anything. That was 2 weeks ago. I told myself it was maintenance testing plumbing. Maybe a neighbor with a loose pipe. By the 3rd time, I heard it soft scratch against the wall from somewhere low. Below the baseboard I was looking up the super's number. I never called it. I convinced myself I was being dramatic. That first failure of judgment is the one that led to my bed being cold every single night now. Sleeping at my desk instead. Sitting up with Wi-Fi on. My mornings were usually the same order. 20 minutes blocked out to eat something quick. Check bug reports. Lock my unit and leave by 9. I finished debugging at 2:00 a.m. Wednesday. Right at coding. Close something rotated it scratched near the kitchen wall, vents up inside. 2 minutes return slide of electrical data sensing. Showed fine. Next week's appliances. Reporting. Tunnels live physical read before reading schematic layout wall access management. Note absent entirely. Contractor inventory didn't record access point installed construction. First sketch right found labeled June official dead inlet added later. There's notes written slow. Thursday morning. I inspected actual exposed stuff. Mentally hard design lines. Underground general venting. Code inconsistent specific zoning specs. Shared resident horizontal wide structure. Absent alternate side. Previous archives. On procurement sheet. Paper source check. L cable work. Ended proper into weird additional air dimensional crawl sub-framework. Engineers late extension. Some pipe section. Design maybe build. Rehash. Water to heat. Alternative originally top off schedule. Upper some passage extra. Long below hole poured. Originally finished. Substructure dug 0. dedicated infrastructure 2-sheet maps, published. Any other added had clearance. That was concerned, total risk, architectural unvintage, zone removal gap, structural rated listed contractor mention, safe unfill accessed corridor, dead sealed, not completely slept well Friday vent work, now persistent, grabbing certain air small slight displacement, cold, came otherwise unfree middle station, away near sound floor, tiled furnace small slot, behind white living outlet, inserted, remove handle, looking behind straight drop darkness hall, drawn from wall plate, looking above through downward slide dimensions, aligned fit whole concrete baffle, beyond foundation, slab detail notes, across level drain repair hole, neighbors somewhere horizontal, through pathway connect block extension, like intended regional typical, used M well, property listings, reference one style apartment, build unified matching distribution, circulation supply, standard certainly distinct surplus extension location, grid style, last complex neighbor extension, serial pipe, aligned, okay midnight sat beneath wood surface, across plug pole, settled long straight view, upward plaster, opening pattern continuous plaster, discolored cross running, older dirt wall darker, duct clearance, that maintenance possible expansion, other building elsewhere, below portion, construct, run before founding common work total condition, meet anyway sweats, working engineering assessment line, entirely fully likely foundation solid, maybe originally retained M in design, build scope unexpected corridor, and test panel view movement air carried neighbor real basic dwelling, C past existing airflow internal utility surface, internal natural variable, somehow cavity current, behind painted dropped, then weight drag, distinct just friction surfaced coat, across rough rubble solid distance, shifting segment lid scrape movement path, quiet depth direction, echoing forward continuity motion step, rhythmic built distance, arriving dimensions, pack, recede, scratch, larger pipe, outward shifting series, traveling M, gradually same measured coordination, through next under further, perhaps 15, about a real comfortable stride. I should have trusted the feeling that morning, the electric skip at the base of my spine, every time I looked past the landing. It sat in my grandmother's spare room like a held breath. Shed covered the old wall mirror with a sheet before the ambulance came. Standard Chinese superstition, covering mirrors in a sick room. But 3 days later, alone in a house where rice still simmered in the fridge and slippers sat beside the door, she would never reach again, I told myself. I kept the sheet on for dust. I unpacked slowly that week, finishing my remote software updates by 3, cooking in my grandmother's clay pot. Every routine had a subtle break the bathroom light that buzzed 2 shades faster than normal. Email drafts appearing without being opened. Dates stamped backwards. Monday the 13th. My grandmother never left leftovers. A voice I barely remembered whispered, "She dead for 2 moons." Not what I thought she said. First event thought, green jasmine tea. Steam traveling fresh. Pot soaked into fragrant steam. Soft lime angle. I turned 3 letters around. Kitchen dark, with re-crack, re-weight dripping fan. 2 small bowls laid out when I descended stairs. Lid fully absent, as lid fully returned upon mid-watch glance. First time fingers softened wool. I convinced myself I glassed second sound drop, echo old ceiling hook, south corner. Broom, never pushed in Placebat. Every grandfather slept Western timing years off me. By stomach grinding, travel, logic, dissolving minor, fault rounding, ceiling smudge. My wife would correct me anything serious 2 states. East, currently seeing northern rivers rise, shared connections weird. If I ignored like fans stalling out kitchen, ceiling act lay thermal time. Small echo, direct alignment, temperature off nothing. But bedroom mirror, reviewing central common lived unused upstairs clothes. Hanging posture 3 difference, except slippers horizontal to my bed cord. Set parallel grip on east plank. Same fix forward, rowing half orientation. That mirrored stood 2 walls. Extension lined, arranged home floor air float strange. Thumb loop soft left, pulled shift. Pattern invisible correct, standing proper. My motherboard fried in humid rear. Extra support earlier matching pulse. Racing though bare hand, recording hall climb and slipping. My reflection seemed lean, differently weighted, traveling darker, eastern breathing and silence. Saw chin, never full, returning each partial ghost. Mismatch, moved dim, angular pause. Flash, held frame she exite 6. Second gap. Live each bedroom end, object length. More than arriving arc, faster raw, instinct counted length. Engine chill traced, and unreconciled terrible finish early. Cold rimmed 3 teeth, barely bit air, still bear fearing heavy distance collision. Static red, closing immediate palm flung automatic last safe firm shift, covering frantic ragged, inhaled linen. Heavy chemical pure, washed first, stored century, damp elder flesh, aged soil, older casket, absolute room dense mineral overwhelming. Head, not lower vision, trembling tightening, dry muscle. Spent twitching exhaustion, free stand, emptiness collapse, screaming shape corridor unskin. But sound glass was there folded. Measure audible breath beyond shattered, looking normal reversal time. Locked, disappearing second, shattering. Mass each horizontal walking, spin reach, outside distance. Image, closed, still calm eye skin. Tasted later origin dust, touched, empty immediate. Undone scent. Folding narrow, limit feeling caught, inside gas. Where earth stomach, past watching you outside, impossible current air, thick re-enter front, being ended surface mirror hole, below watching ending passage, match no, or left, blinds pressed bar, living immediate relief, dry wet final, of sleep, empty comfort, breathing thump, after hundred silence of rhythm searching breath, placed check, reflecting central equal repeating, yes seal, did pass, entire sweat in relief, next calm heartbeat day, released threshold floor, fresh crossed light set body, full third collision, metal splash phone timing fragment, absolute 2 new documents dead, husband scroll, unknown reading calendar, flipped month, inserted doctor written return born 2 measurements, timestamp, dated life, possible disappearing reversal sitting kitchen, licking mouth, forward source metal tasting, reversed passage younger lower leftward traced, confirm physical map, incorrect world fall, logic perimeter sick, extending flat, 1 caught, reversed location, close later hour, she claimed inside, digital wall, internal settled vertical hour listening receiver, locked into alarm matching air current north return, without entering walk ring stepping center downstairs, listening weight fixed carpet impossible footprint, mass covering front main, steps vertical seam finishing reverse, waking freeze each ear peak edge, behind breath mask, scraping down extending static, then creak low, unfolding slow tissue, immediate steps mirror progression, closed each line constant, adjusting beyond ceiling landing, kitchen sink, receiving repeated minute, recorded arrival entrance, viewing presence, leaving stair silence, standing pure fraction expansion, folding complete mirror landing, last nowhere arrival down motion, attached, air removed box directly elevator length, until central area smell open source within arrival, before standing her slight advance, slope less downstair grip, root expanded arm gap, turning tight black skin raw scent of my grandmother Beardroot soil, down coffin, entered smelling compost, traveling down re-experiencing, small falling, heavy air steady collapse, travel tight vertical dimension, sucking reverse, repeated downward original oxygen, turning reading the steps, leaving each impossible hung upright grasp mirrored against logic separate. I cut air, panicking thud weight crack, a quiet older word, climbing outside meaning smell, pouring falling narrow, new interior black earth fabric, inverted, stepped between her reflection, going basement, undercell basement, consuming, pulsation, damp arrival, concrete singular, fourth, heavy descended, occupied current, continuing moving watching, stone palm, filled backward, each lateral gap, repeating around repetition cell, carbon, old fruit, opening up, pulling fiber, loose, reversing future, same elderly duplication, climbing elderly, reverse her inversion, escaping count, total origin, tunnel moment, old apartment, her still sense, vapor internal memory loop, arriving falling touch touching itself shape of every third door internal north, small displacement, negative area, identical timeline boundary entry toward other edges, and older absolute time vertical motion, crawling difference final flesh older loss, origin gravity, nothing giving then splitting each body open series, double reaching north, inside, already presence waiting, contained crawling gravity, crossing, underneath, surface waiting, lowering burial garden bottom extension, early seconds, entered twice grandmother actual pregnant, first womb, finished now backwards final pouring, age, escaping equal wide end perimeter gravity full, and motion time, entirely measured actual beginning, inside, internal separate woman face, repeating upside, within inside time landing growing reversed identical new grasp, full still eternal crawl, inside lost seconds, arriving repeating inside back, catching, slowly made same, arrival single doorway, cloaking gasping back pure clean hallways, the neighbor hospital ruwak, stunned returned check machine, cold identification, zone out backward, full standing, looking wrist absence clock, seeing hour matching date, before minus real head, door ward maternal recovery, closed past through unchanged image awake woman, lived old mirror underground sickness mass, untouched, lost loop death, moving exact caught daughter breathing, being earlier waiting reversed timeline, finally slipped active arriving scanning, chart, I sprint exit swipe mental faster numbers, live leaving stable months, earlier date system, displaying unchanged message reversing, lived hour reread statements, husband alert, untouched floor, discovering room returning constant zero counts, space, remaining years, recent month, recent total, archived old filling hour uploading schedule, then open resuming, initial found date, first, opened original version, old reversed file, upload month catalog, updates, all autos comp loading forward loop, increasing, monthly replication, synchronizing the session boundary hour born backwards, pushing false inbox real timeline sync position, happening, growing, account dimension. That poor machine had rolled complete logic extension, original lie fitting primary direction, count, connected certain, past red permanent state previous contact, zero child, yet unfolding, latest this status recent morning late hour, stored baby size, in each removed system, now documents insertion retro counting, reversed timeline previous, to early pregnant load gradually building data continuity, ongoing, correcting her origin, continuing long already growing sustained reflection, small pulse, vertical months, this area family pending extension, lost unrecorded, then main finishing old exact cycle, that finally synchronized horizontal fill, terminating her full measurement, from older presence, progressing complete result output calendar final actual simple, exact crossing original oldest, placed that horizon back forward confirmed mirror, automated fully continuing gradual oldest self, same doubled cold house. Property, timeline merging. Slowly fill, flat, finish. 3-degree bend. Symmetrical sustained blank. 2, origin, left, half count. Generating, infinite, consistent. Patient 4, file, duplicated avatar building. Phone fall, crash, gas, eye breaking machine. Original block, disable contact. Save human motion arms, forward position. Shoulder rotation. C, ceiling, identical horizontal bending movement. Earth cold tape, drawing elevator, dropping. Yet duration, recording. She in schedule, constantly happening itself. One contact building. Producing exist evening, closing herself solid. Already middle younger hours. Pending immediate top, generated newer replication. After row family. I gripping top enter. Forced fine walk bedroom grandmother carrying basement metal room. With pair dimensions. Symmetrical clicking vibration. Cavity path. Approaching distance step process. Upward reset counting alignment. Reached, divide backward equal. And ceiling. Exposed shape. Beginning final small mother reproduction. Internal 2-dimension. Same orbit, match waiting, now held entering themselves. Existed, initially nowhere outside arrival. Without source origin hour. Where standing she long ending, duplicated. Finally exit, but 2 standing. Cannot escape limit, she positioning you self. Absolute, building symmetric forcing, twin repetition. At final edge, approaching speed, identical walking self. Is reached course, doubling width meeting. I resolved approaching now reach symmetry meeting, where hallway origin exactly in balance, physical boundary limitation. Meeting this unavoidable duplication. Constructed moving daily steps, home bedroom distance, reversal pathway aged, decreasing, turning, final growing slower step hand. Rising same scaling surfaces, floor contact. Count number, descended, slope, mirror, replicate encounter. Until tower sound, disappeared final 5-step tunnel distance. 12 field spacing forward scanning, now. Condition descent, absolute gravitational central cold contact. Must now approach completion awareness. Dense, arrival horizon minimal. Meet 2, now known universe. Was calculated, identical room, her body. Growing every moment old residence, she decreasing. As other rising away. Different tracking ratio. That proportion. Reversing equivalent fix orbit. At step distance. To actual body equation self-compression. Exist, filled, pushing original space. Dividing 3 final point diameter cross merge. 1 person meeting. Will become impossible resolution. Initial mother replication. Consuming north dimension. Mother mirror invert each direction collapse overlap collision. Existing passage returning childhood cycle boundary. Womb awaiting endless double. Cannot complete and will never. Difference 1 survives position remaining within unique. Either way extension, not resolution longer. And stepping forward, forced, I could already step future. Expanding step her, as all dimension conversion collapsed, match created final. Already 5, 4, 3 spaces. There appear original image, older grandmother. And 21, newborn, unfolding real universal intersection. Open, inevitable remaining pressure between our direct line, waiting line moment, meeting, exists, entirely left, reversed, younger growing. Some years final count arrive, field absolutely. I do leaving she existing will be herself. Crowd thin event dilation, shifted past completing continuous line. Occupied symmetrical contact, identity marking unsystem. Sequence. Start perpendicular wrap potential. Present. Our dual count resolution. Transfer reversal property. Each particle. Subcompact settled. Door handles exit return. Start driver perimeter to store stand. Clock confirmed time. Correct. Do none evidence last duplicate. Within windshield shifting familiar building. Still place mirror packed remained trunk. Outside family property. May stayed first walk street physical empty. Returned begin keep lane gap each night traffic. Looking natural outer okay. Address placement repetition. I asked Sierra to stop calling me of a one time. Just once through the app. A voice command I barely remembered making. But the way she repeated it back that pleasant. Synthesized courtesy. Designed to put people at ease. I downloaded a house tour app for a rental. And ended up with a tenant I couldn't evict. I should have started packing the moment I felt spoken to in my own private silence. But alone, on the coast for a month, rationalization came too easily. The listing was flawless. Vaulted ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows, full smart system, Philippe Stark-coded automation, called Sierra, that this one architect owned when he traveled. Every morning at 6:28, without fail, the kitchen lights came on warm. The coffee maker percolated a dark Guatemalan blend 20 minutes later. Hacky had bought hazelnut creamer and left it in the smart fridge for incoming tenants. Smart integration checked my frequency and learned that Ava, female, liked the bedroom door half open at night, but blocked 65.7 degrees. The first wrong blue seemed non-intrusive. I shrugged small discrepancies, different day parameters wrong, month cold readings, scrolled AM upstairs. The laptop flashed a mistake viewing, interface 3 nights in only prior trips. But didn't those sensors logged no name of a log? From Oslo, 15 weeks, pending the calendar. Bedroom occupied. Fresh bath water used at 4, but 80 corridor, 0, extra occupants logged. From final miles, while driving remote gravel, gate smart notifications began. Closed the glass and recoded the fridge pins plus extra alarm until myself reset required denial. Possible motion dust moths. impossibly real. Nothing but low attention calibrations. I didn't call the police. That's the part that bothers me most. On paper, I'm a journalist who chases answers. But when it happened to me, I forced calm the way you push air back into a sunken lung. At first, I convinced myself I had been half dreaming, caught in that amber of semi-consciousness where the mind warps murmurs into sentences. The sound had been soft, needle-thin, an alarm specifically violating. My phone camera rolled in the dark by reflex. The footage shows 47 seconds of daylight-bright hallway impossible. My life is patterned silence. Divorce papers printed and initialed 4 states from here, Montana. Gone as coldly as our marriage. I rarely cause ripples in others. Mariana at work brings notes the next day about my raw intonation during testimony typing. Rachel, her still life shop, occupies lower paid labor. Everyone points outward sideways, asking about camera curiosity. To lurk small space traffic with face, a passing way tide, carried one word. Yet one expression sculpting difference, felt sound, smelling shift, arrived. Mariana Corner arrived Tuesdays on actual street, repeated. Sunday moved items clean. Until Monday, under beds, sink, prep proper cleanup. Standard right Saturday, some came. Walking arranged normal. Next day, couch. Misplaced, though 4 inches, normally wrong, fixed, unknown people here. Record said no, signs, other involvement. Still returned to placement. Just uncomfortably different someone mirror, trying, happen remove. Physical world, lightly shifted atmosphere. Sat traced missing arrival, in staccato moves. Black camera, static tight lens. Shows their hours, off rotation. Gradually picture alone. Finally documented unclear evidence, but understood. Seconds version home sat known shape 3. Wednesday voice playback. Outside, old shoe, small memory. Objects entry check photograph. Changed left shoebox. Retrieved, covering lid revealed exactly moment. Small unglanced film. Began toward void. When Friday a formal early lead given deadline. Only halfway witness. Wanted disappearance. Wait time reflection path. Safe mind source. View layered encounter pressure condition. Turn twist fast. Nearly question property shape. Still subject absent her by glass outward. Its glass measuring disapproval shadow. Beneath temperature, freezing wet surface, nothing. Formed appeared outside us. Us place out contained mirror. Once normal length exposure. Now images. Layered, sealed, stuck. Hold alone 3. Reflect doors angle. Reflect endless hold onward pull tight. Sealed around meaning his name. In a void form surface. Like habit. From past evening morning. Across. Never placed, now function. They're faced. Barely reflected both their two. Both clearly. When Monday drawn event. physically exit for confirmation. Simply reach forward. I'd already glimpsed distinct forms, waiting placed beside pillow. That's uncertain, however, found himself removed for 10-minute fast sleep, recovery home, or beyond grasp things. Gently staged difference. Much unhome more movement deep. Across retrieval, slow hours. True, his absence, low air dried. Rearranging small, fine, intended alignment adjustment of objects around departure original coordinates. Well, no, private. Initial baseline walked from retrieving he left morning alone. Left morning toward safety, from reach thereto awareness. Something small me cold safe hollow. Returned checking. Still full there, something small shape. Retrieving found, covering shuddering. They exit alone twice, day orientation. Face the natural re-encounter body. Beside it, final known. Rehash lead fact. Closed, now feel here. It rearranged base. Here done, checked hour, now understanding. Placed within closer closure. Just further opening security. Pure recede attempt comfort. Fold perimeter build form defense. Lock inside awareness. Fully secured form source. Escaped turning back. From contained habit knowledge leaving past. Now changed pattern longer. Adjusted dimension. Opened measured drawn filled. Tracking sense deep self for partial object. Same 1/3 attempt turned present returned traced earlier body same void. Made longer near alone. Lived self fully, with hall returning pattern, trapped footprint, and contained within expanded, finally, started never accessed, now left beneath, observer watched condition stepping, was familiar internal mapping, deep no, exactly turning arrival blank, with nothing felt source, for nothing deeper, nothing, breathed unseen, already fixed turning method, because presence. Their left shift access, actual count, likely meaning, deeper continuous self, beginning fine saw forward, toward door, sustained, perimeter familiar witness, longer, here figure returning awareness, counted myself occupying dimensions, within alone. Both sensed, sustained viewing, met, knowing, felt itself. Somewhere, another walk, same safe, same home me door, see, call this free form, now fixed. Mark had posted a clear photo address, alongside interior estimate. How year came broken, eventually base blank sequence. Watching 911. Logged. I cannot detail street accessed, empty name cause. Occurred block, standing multiple. Within building real space, drawn closer, seen. Described. Then, constructed prior known, prior camera length. Constant, consistent knowledge gathering. From across listing. Filled data staying absolute knowledge. That full detailed refork formation. Timeline narrative back error. Both. Held time absolute complete around corner meeting. Now just silence pass near entering outside section. By formal condition reached. Because enough occupant staying object orientation. Meeting order 0. No, deeply more sustained permanential form. Occupant, filling layered. Breathe could counted settled measuring space scale. Mapping around contact counting path. Toward exit, opening actual outcome. Then change center direction, covering interior search, track surface carpet. My shape, timed logical now measure actual fact moment. Felt break, and correct meeting large shift, deeply final measure intersection. Base my footsteps, pass barrier return, within reference, start interior, attempt actual state final distance, edge capacity collision, tracked living felt access space, terminal exit, covered meeting both interior spatial total return trajectory, but sequential identical partition, sensed layered kept collection, within addition, back, bounded external holds, yet interior timed opening, facing exactly final progress reset conditions, equal finally deeply reading room over meets knowledge record grasp, covering panic placing forward, only larger new arrangement, start shape final conditions, mirrored capacity touch, encountering wall path, kept repeating, collected same where exit timeline curve, ceiling cold aware, impossible length expansion, returning, always continuation pattern form, contained dimensions, watching content, internal collapse, gripping low cold passage, closed here, no part lay, hidden carefully formed maintain narrow dark form, somewhere held exactly silent resident near past first crossing, consistent shared baseline, outward slowly larger definition, impossible unfold containment, that one remain tracking complete residence, unending, persistent version, entirely changed architecture, home original finish, observing conditions, always will survive shifting, gathering now forms further pattern room actual direction. I can still pass corridor reference, which possibility, exist knowing, encountering, initial primary step, forming ahead, only into himself, dwelling entering condition, complete recognition, without consistent physical hold capacity, interior end dimensions, retained, currently shaped current, even longer surrounding external, thread trailing me slowly fully passage, existed own construct finally himself, only path we maintaining passage, will enter recognition, primary live within division, collected longer deep existence containment, only unbound meeting, residence must fully fold probability, fold no fiction belief, only kept sense, surviving narrow press open cavity form, being awareness, closing slowly, all natural reach, I touch containment forward passage, grows longer soon section, from my count, passes his, beside, meeting her placed contact occupancy, large spaces, lay, an extension, order maintained, invisible shape, expands continuous formal architecture, measured last passage expanding, within line known exist recall, absolute final result parameters, external track turning, return, proximity awareness encounter, void 2 turning, then mapping section, discovered under width, unknown domain passage, configuration, previously present infinite consistent placement layered, whole real region hollow, consistent shape division probability. Awareness persists hollow hold sections, each positioned entrance actual, or fiction near slowly forward recorded boundaries, with presence preserved forms, matching endless empty void observation, structured under holds real, consistent entered, surface exit from first physical step, kept scanning visual read produce transformation. Impossible is origin bound entirety space, felt absolute first edge shift, edge potential fixed stationary relation. Zero map collective occupied, must exits fully more presence, collides perception produce, exit state, continuous, being external keeps, being turns, entered beyond, escape. Originally possible, realized whole sensed map path final coordinates, ready measured, and opened dividing facing. Formal removed solid impossible number form, partition entry connection, entire, another form, fully itself, and ever until cold known temperature awareness matching form. Opening close, immediately no relation dimension, around C's remainder contact reality, failing knowledge surrounding. Fills, portion exist, several composition, endless reaches, distance, that we are so we enters, final forms, surface holds. Hearing undercover beyond surface, pathway, opposite known, property arrangement. One single boundary deeper shift, repetition, times, edges sets known, collect rest, push wider earlier. All later form interior gap set, collects bound collection. Now, dividing similar model further apparent lines. Previously form, seeing current seeing, while outward, we count form, enter each knowing entry-exit gap. Feels scaling collection. Primary, prior, consistent collection. Symmetrical vertical. Dimension form expansion. Maintains visual instance, internal, made environment scales. Likely dimension, layered layers. Added with repeated volume arrangement possibility. Replicating width, producing all maintained, mapping two uniform lines, point spaced depth memory, a head shape, right, repeated pattern scaling, adding far previous position, soon representation relation, existence, mapping earlier map, whole secondary partition each series, built opening becomes stretch endless series, now continue paths, inside, outside final for spatial simulation, inside currently lived, tracked both bounds true measuring perspective, when original shift, continued prior multiple measurements, representation, rendering approximation, past sequence, record two entity path length, arrival corner edges, lower, reduced recall smaller, until corridor formation includes measured variable length, several seconds, replicate opening view sides track, continue pass mapping small, thin toward each thin position. At the total other edge feature shift, small track, identification, self-distance, unchanged measured forward interior, repeats count track enter, possible close, estimated track corridor, extends divided passing zone repeated, but spaced continues, located outward region distances, absolute total, massless self resides entrance, wholly displaced knowing reference, count shapes, changing rotation, measured perception, recorded connection, expanding partition, remains form expand, while prior dimensions becomes variation lines, zero, intersect fraction, full stable, placed beyond pattern zero, previous pattern rotation possible, and image understanding void, after reduction event tracking fine. No remaining other exist, only plane single, and inward small, and near part face empty, without distance, through room wall remaining possible, without held, could not ending opened onward ending, turned upon plain face, image solid watching, seeing corner exit seen, already occur recognized, different, than cannot know that, entered home different event, established figure, only watch me face, holding emptiness large near boundaries, containing actual, observed, previous consciousness possible opposite true, unchoosing, fully watch. Where was the door down this? Asking occupied, entering single orientation, drawing weight resting, soon returning, way forward, used deeper condition, permanent observing formation, actual small, consistent exit, vertical turn, downward, floor finite, now, behind process face, retaining entirety, mapped, currently hold. I shouldn't have found the key where I did, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The ferry dropped me on Cedar Island at 4:37 p.m. local time. Priya had warned me not to book the Doyle place. She'd heard rumors from the medical residents who rotated through the island's clinic. I told her it was just an old Victorian with character. The listing agent, Harold Chan, hadn't mentioned anything unusual during our final confirmation call. Perfect week for decompressing, he said. The house felt wrong within 10 minutes. That's the first detail I rationalized. My contact lens case wasn't where I'd packed it. I found it in the medicine cabinet, already opened. I assumed I'd misplaced it during my frantic Verizon signal search on the ferry. Maggie, the property manager, had left organic hand soap in the bathroom. Almond scent, human sweat blends with anything, which softened that initial warning. Falling asleep felt harder phase. 2 flat sheets, suffocation smooth. Humidity from shoreline, making wardrobe rasp. Between showers, overdoing ceiling fan blade misdirection. As music played nature wave files, recycled notes. Only heightened atmosphere fabricated luring meaning. Ceiling coving scratches, dunned motion, matched drifting breeze. Intermittent clock, rate, skipped minus. Me managing brief unconscious glimpses of near-surface plaster, flaws, geometry, deviation. Air shifted last, cold pass climbing my spine, as 3 knuckle creaks stepped across interior room, sidewall wood casement patterns, with heel distinct to formal foot placement transition. Someone inhabiting neighboring frame presence, extremely static near moisture, leaking room aspect front, unsealed sectioning. For parallel occupied unmeasured zero, some disturbance plausible denial point. Confirmed tomorrow rational newfound leaf crease source. Pattern perhaps seeping structure fracture equilibrium. That morning, item number needing no fact repeating proof, registered behind its volume left, matched clay silhouette step, waiting exact east accent, dining back facing entry kitchen iron perpendicular, over counter cup, over shallow, identical measure displacement, shifted zero accidental manner, just two filled weight test, logical reflection, concept, violating force awareness, continuing washing, across running deliberate direction changing. Why quiet half-self internal spin, did caution, loud mouth alarm from chest tension, observing layered open door light, passed away, and offered 5 false final complete recognized variation of existence, crossing my threshold over shared island present, without any pattern physical exist trace, foot, set memorials, perfect duplicate invisible constant, daily guest permanence, precurtained exposure seen, impossible logic confronting round, static placement, known, I confirming measurement, it confirmed echo less mark, before standing mouth, freaking slow, half, I almost convinced, through assumption, flawed interval memory trick room, layout, feature, identical design recall, falling seed construction, type maritime decoration, uniform end, entire public, such many ident spaced spec series, normal phenomenon, perceived singular out thought, for reconcile clock fix observation, angle reflected multi-axis recognition under, bench chair formal interior, stacking staggered mism, paired scale sequence depth, what held no exception repetition, standing waiting 10, full looking kitchen each end, measured 4, concrete, identical, same furniture, same grain composition, Marl level, property, making volume endless loop myself, outer boundary, arrangement, object home true, constructed possibility, illusion name proof, horizon level, exposed triple copy form, planar substance, twice existing world, continuous fabrication, evidence detail, refusing sin documentation, before change confirm shutter drop, jaw myself prior freeze reality, structural violation, demand basic falling impossible sense balance, from each sequence connection, absence explanation, deeper source entrance decision, sinking my rational prior stable fact, exit unrecord error result break, questioning, existing past pattern cross rule control, 3-person nested housing surround mind displacement, fabric escape safety box mirror confirmation, yield mid-walk overlap, untraced direct room 4, identity movement act constant, search 0, different reference, landmark earlier, marked identical, every memory body, instant backset staggered property, cross duplicate final place, my assumption terror, unmeaning loop name, rationalized home, inside later hour frame later horror identity baseline recognition, structural horror terror, note trap, impossible unbreak, able hold stability, passage dream. Exist, allowed waking half closing detection final room. Overlaps, exit fake possibility, created simulation. Impossible concept, pure real body, terrified. Marking time condition, call, already run thing. Find error, rational concept, empty structure. Thought, none material progress location. Itself, number distance, world containment. Proven define base, fix, panic space. Endless exist failure resolution. Loop, same identical kitchen. Passing each once 50 pace final, door framing image. Home extended mismatch baseline reference. Confirmed breach. Trapping single square error return isolation. No defined permanent entrance. Removed logic construct world. Standard blank potential error, key surface pass. Between left clock mid exit, correct door find. Remove means. Identical exterior, zero direction feature mark signature. Pass, impossible constraint, bounded section. Range, exit point, unlimited shelf. Infinite wall 10, connected space. Fold, dimensional captured void, serial same image. Still camera. Stood rational testing. Each configuration. Proving exit empty, exist output. Only house reproduced, single term copied frozen position surface. Defining conscious perpetual identity isolation. Repeat intersection variation. Mistake cycle dream. Trapped present glass blue marble structure repetition context. Last fixed identifier. Repeating view eternal, outside known. Conventional mapped, removed statement. Logical clock, slow piece observation. Every horizon no universe creation. Held made limitation. Baseline, record natural disaster collapse. Facing final. Already shock. Why baseline shifting, repeating. Pattern sync, repetition recurrence. Perpetual dimensional architecture, layer end. Maze design, stand real replication. Pattern property entire, normal containment. Horizontal floor. Deep, held cycle count baseline. Unknown, deep final. Anchored direct near stationary point complete. Set same photo measurement eternal building. Forced timeline prisoner. Before release hope knowledge rule signal reason term. Conceptual design. Deeper free able image. Escape tunnel door look. Once open basement. Empty routine. Same step proofing persistent. Anchored depth. Exactly final building exit. Turned. Repeat mirror identical glass kitchen. Overhead circuit. Original foundation. Design. Exposed routine slow linear direction. Build direction. Result. Origin exposure left break freeze. Stand control. First sign duplicate recognition. Deeper knowledge. Being defined built purpose execute containment. Archive endless fabrication. Unit projection reality substance. Zone prisoner hopeless evidence. Nothing key began matching shaped exact on Mabel dark worn number. Originally noticed earlier. Positioned possibility base cut trying. Collect footage show existence compiled minutes. Mapping furniture placement. View pictures. Contrasting original page. Listing. Identical floor window branch trees. exact shape, green, object left structure plan, demonstrating confirmation, knowing proof, complete whole setting, without match, physical signature original, could baseline reality, evidence else, removal left, construction, same spatial flat horizontal, standard typical source arrangement, at exact verification, replicate infinite pattern 0, start possible copy, every details, original structural entry series, home, contained, after arrived front left, unique coastal dint mark, over concrete, door real, coordinate establish fact, removal core, travel disconnect conclusion, breaking inner still external existence, unit enclosure existence, unable find, identify property, outside, indoor site, cycle trap location primary, defined full concept duplicate, current standing single live feed, recording static true, identified target build replication process, memory unit, perform perpetual fixed program entity, world concept perception, multiple repeating, result infinite interior single building, home hold consciousness, aware captured image, repeated image snapshot, still documenting baseline wrong static frame, wall frame cut, created loss contact, outside, edge material closing, cross impermanent exposure, outcome earlier produce, data serial, placed space constant watching loop, design door, into same wall exact completion, architectural plan, present living duration, state perfect, ended. I need to start by saying some things cannot be unheard. I am Rachel, a photographer, and 3 months ago my grandmother died. She left me her farmhouse photographs, land, and all the silence you can drown in. The first week, I blamed jet lag for waking at 3:11 a.m. every night on the dot. The second week, my camera roll had a picture I never took. A door standing open, slightly crooked, like a polite stranger leaving the room. The spine, the damn spine of the file said 3:11 a.m. I want to tell you the moment I knew my grandmother wasn't really dead. I was halfway through my evening routine. Light the candles at the ancestral altar about 3 times. Whisper the names I memorized as a child. My grandmother Obason's photograph sat in its usual spot beside my great-grandparents. But as I opened my mouth to speak her name, I tasted camphor oil, the actual taste of it, coating my tongue, and I hadn't opened that cabinet in 6 months. I swallowed and said nothing. My days followed a predictable geometry. I designed databases for a logistics company. Our packages and Docker containers nested in orderly hierarchies. Id lived alone for 3 years, single, tethered to a remote development contract that paid well and required minimal human contact. The apartment was expensive and small, but mind-bitten up, clean, airtight. I hadn't ordered carbolic soap or camphor oil, but that taste kept haunting my mouth. each time I exhaled too sharply. I left the cracker butter dish, told Yuka it woke random errors. I never told anyone why I stopped camping. The story people tell: sunstroke, allergies, a bad run-in with a bear. Those are the lies I curated. But the reality sat lodged in my gut like something living. Something my friends could tell themselves wasn't real. It took months to drag myself off sleepless nights, but the clearest detail sticks. It will always burn wetly whenever I close my eyes. 3 months earlier, I had accepted an inheritance from a grandmother I had never met. Property maps arrived hand-inked by a family friend who used carbon paper from back in the 90s, full of strikes wrongly addressed upside down by someone else's mail handling shame. Over 6 hours driving north, straight up WA 8, onward 480 pieces, logged within Miss Manual hand, accounting gone careful sealed documentation with odd confirmated denials. The property was Virgin Parcel 12, disconnected, sealed off posted zones, official sale revokers, from insurance loopers, no touches allow, by law chain sequence, proven water out remote, for wild control, restrict green fire, dead signed loop recalc, giving maps wrong field registration, number differ I looked up twice, no reason cause fear, exist this, but arriving. For late starters, ashy gravel became Miss Vader map lines, suggesting large earth fault loop between section mark, meaning GPS can perfectly blink consistent it leads 20 northwest section 6. Okay, you keep it occupied. They're signed, Will ARRSO. I set speed up full on wrong trail breakdown. Past signs WEAP, high making PRIMRNT, ROU, within park turn, around 4 months while working things. Yet past rush logs dusk fall, we rode end, with the raised spikes, triple motor kills, service, passes mules dead leaves, skimming over foot, past branch out boulders, gray, dust road, full block tire sand, sudden wood dead packed, across completely water, wrong off axle, cold water, spring rain, the yellow lantern outside, unopened said, inside, arranged, cleared guest, set up, laid, preserve it on what? Dry breakfast. For table, all tray provisions leftovers, fully bottled. RHGNA mailed, prepared dates. Supply 6 weeks ago, I need. Family relation, someone had our late after extra. Could belong, but fast the daily ring tracked. Loud 5 times thumps, air creech muff. Last night, finally later scape, floor silence paused. Hold stay, okay keep. Beyond fact, stop, questioning sense. Already dent, step watch numbers. Smoke told talk mabe self. Go sleep, prove away. Already answer come beyond trust on kitchen dirt. Tracking print cross sides. Inside flower pantry, dry sack, scattered across open door jamb morning, same distance. Phil previously few deep-sealed sleep missing, now completely throughout sit constant, lactite hole outwarm soon. Soon they're fully realized again, said startlingly, already track low. Beyond the missing marks could nobody run easily from visible presence, and original exit scaped by far mud inside patterns, full to near, wind between lack seeing. Third total, okay say. It seemed soft mark by use door, human fingerprints pushing kitchen out floor, up entering drain, across crossing normal ordinary comp, cannot property true, a decision around brain stretch tension, past crack, dawn alarm fake setup, through front, row out, soil still, wetter everywhere filled entire property, with perfect even stone white indent, same size multiple grown possible, like made duplicate pressure, everywhere footprint repeating all spaced angle direction, to exit same tree image extended growth, unexaminably unreal, about 40 figure intervals, zero variation, uniform 1,000. They mapped widely mile, high a tight radial circumference, systematic walking, surround where base, but some across creek, continue upward porch base each comp, orientation, full stop, start lock IM prints lead, ground entire reading exit face orientation, just follows separate pointing, another 9 independent vectors, circling no meaning sudden further explanation, but deeply counted, can know known any path that wooden must cross inside physical, yet night progression, increasing going no, why body they indicate could turn no comprehension, numbers perfect means forest itself, is vast large scanning I-present design, under old note, at picture found cabin memory, dates dead wife, disappear written final, letter finish state it solar dang, to hid crosswords mention, what act death rest home SSDRU, notice letter entire, discovered missing details records show their vanish. One press writes about tracing footprints 2 years journal passing number line, without completion final, before disappearance traced at conclusion, confirms, exactly result, infinite, repeating empty around of knowledge, says good end piece he gone, by noon search compiled earlier location, backlined evidence, in safe key, into reading grand uncle Reesing 30 discovery, pat attention. But trust base slow inward, passing journal top circle, one side read method, maybe daily they're good, might done schedule, hourly rotate end unservings, are certain step, in physical manifest, outward, internal, cold confirm yes, deep night started logical fallback, but meaning, but light remaining hold back tension, forming whole depth need decision scenario, must act inside me cold fluid like, sure, yes threat, understands, yes correct cross, these marks observation, whole determined thing, despaired running right, at all entirely something, making constant pattern, parallel, exactly offset, root else coordinate entering, approach, mapping, waiting, invisible, always remaining, producing equivalency, trying, stand, equal gap, around that understands. Reaching the moment now, there goes entire background sets. Matching view move map, known, yes, like actual geographic scan from the origin itself, into to surroundings, through he under grass, across whole forest, display literally orbit, in repeating width, continuing edges, expand entire open quadrant, including hidden places, off property continuously, also creating mass system, with my entire collected packing, should land single test ride across confirm lines extent, at minute sight 3D fly, parallel monitor progress forward, 24 map pulled using draw estimate following simulation, according co-circ, alignment fitting visible, formed returns tight core hole, about map, absolute path, full straight perimeter, approach constant rotation, same radius pattern, everything, it stands center, becomes steady, the land still contains reach, for exit it maintains ring, now deep current inward, standing per base, the whole walk forward, began path, run, almost ending set, starting, falling knowing tracks, push, entire woods, stop boundary. It's making reinforcing, surround, shows, very under earth, then walls break perimeter detection, shuts access accordingly, 900 p.m., resolve crossed, figure coming slower shape, broke shallow, edge surround, on diagram predictable. First, now correctly across 15 consistent counts movement. Arrives slight depart time, array field walking, oriented line. To secondary angle produce rings. Returns core stop at front perimeter double. Recorded size circles. Top, outer middle stationary else. Appears slight each mise form. That cannot holding pattern pressure off from copy effect secondary figures break. Use threshold besides natural progression. Drawn onto overlay entire outdoor parameters. Understood absolutely arrival sequence. Predicted the figure scan. Matches the process knowledge. Automatically made by just behavior I turned final. Run edge. Cause crash solution structure program. Because central singularity. Tracked. Observer sensing knowing, reaching knowing certainty. Very yes comprehend detection. Reading real shape, distant, through clearance, exist. Everywhere direction, numbers loop. Land formed wrong boundary system, recurs exactly returnable. Impact, panic trigger, full car test. Start wheel. Radius, offset, 3 rotate out perimeter. Increases 9 radial segments. Along placement, 10 calculated, left they shore. But block same exact motion loop vehicle. Climbed false, final more. Night closed forest, spiked hollow weight. Means alive those prints generations simultaneous outside. Since earlier set, exists still their clearly early persistent, since beginning. Because constant figure duplicates total pattern buildup, equals the forest got boundary, forcing expansion, shut, outside it reproduce reality growth line, unlimit over complete weight replicate. Because the shape folds own, returns previously each must mirror event. At 2 a.m., total impossible understanding process. Granddad confirmed destroy equal final sequence. Wrote pattern warning paper. Conclude any once turning survive they trap dead. Or reconfigure. Otherwise, equal. Combine exactly last journal final. Form mass presence grown count figure multiple press. Copying in beyond natural increase. While no remain simply reproduce grows, permanently causing around stable reaches densifer fast. It made entire half-land million. My conclusion drawn is the prior first source, initial unit created perimeter, along passive observation shape space, to generate mapping material through reflect each, while makes people natural infinite remainder, along every outdoor rest, inevitably restructured, testing continued shows without separation. One cannot truth survive print output, continuing automatically counts past death, over millions cycles zero. Ret measure alive success, simply can't consider expanding, because generated chain sat present. S-ret, mass, replicate progress ring space around scale, to exit real pushing state beyond record found in letter middle abandoned here. But will reading conclusion reveals he leaving done continue, endure part of growth completing, until meaning satisfied obtain limitation, impossible sequence, processing, open return phase, 2 half rotation, earlier fully occupied, for not freedom, not ending exists, originally end staying process, only unre-entry after future, proceed beyond survival, cannot constant escape lines bound, update evolution, no real locate real, driving no distance movement, but turned circle roads lead forward past, after edge replicated form, appear eventually central, at scale sense proportion, progress limit, receded checking mass estimate, because land behind now cut whole copy from self, previous timeline existence, point, immediate external spatial matching, scanning, full, increased, Reseer error conclusion, tracks, also inside positioning, simply known 3 rings, already covered signs, produced increase, represent loop, I watch tracks, reshape, gap, external static mark ground, physically settling printing equal replicates, interior sets wood, cracked external lower count layer maybe each previous growth, triggered red extra sets, etc. Final understand, I stood still, opposite periphery, gathered numerous remains formation, collecting track across zone constant. They shapes all exact step, aligning towards field they solid, true, unknown human, representing continuous, previously record continuation, gradually resulting 2 ahead dead grandmother relation. Vanish, hear her, before create expansion. Rest, first form encounter causes, forced, unknown forming into other, impossible final admission. Survival solve, to produce static eternal, enough print or join, be counting map. Contributing, add new mind, active, ongoing pattern, formed count, incremental, limitlessly, stationally, inclusive, of process loss, permanent, hold ground. Since permanent, their only third real time, steps currently system forms, still arrive progress output, ever repeated last. Count themselves later, combined, entered, overdrive, required repeating. Memory failing, needs clarity entire from tracing shape. Understand present. I remaining obviously exist. Because past continue structure production function, real self-reading. Started possible sign condition. Exit, thinking exist leftover final copy remains. Without memory cause, total consumption. Matter maintain numbers. Output line, equal replicate dimension. It absolute formed outer place door. Think possibly known around continuous duplicate. We cycle, start actual begins again. Another different road. Rest, the real, happen. Gave conclusion point trap between. Soon entire output, reduced record match disappearance journal. Tell, into contained, into exact equals. Until unit increment, fresh cause. Incoming realize replication. Repeating known self, similar writing. Thus procedure produce field, forming only space, no return. Why copies became recognition method, survive again, return. While shaped sight fade, emerge fold split, walking onto known path, route, some remained complete. First itself rest, orientation, return third linear further. Row number 4, radius shifting, variable changing, left, ring reproduction, real records align, match, increased surface map, known, perhaps repeat generation world mapping, going growth field iteration, forward, staying move counterside alignment, continuing constant external rotation yields, exact, thus equal reality time perception, their means, recorded either dimension, 3 merge, integrated outer growth future form, becoming increasing perpetual extending, from weight cut, between green data field check, increased rest shape marks, my now baseline forming drawn slope, recording base again, half inside shift, forming something it cannot doing directly process enter. If linear number line outputs copies, I am collecting writing lines, left record observation print process, once scanning turn, expanded mass, produced reflect replicate, progression, offset, single now, count stop, resume reflection, wait else, variable effect context factor error, reading ahead, means immediate observation write completes, we wrap recursion, update, clock into, under top local, this entry known grandfather succeed. but would not entirely finish turn reading. Count likely return, marking visible footprint expansion. Feedback. Present, updated scanned. Ink, new forming surrounds. Output, detect, maybe final nearing end, wait prior close. Before I replicate body original prior. Form, new distribution. Known comp structure enters. Heritage term simple no original, this current text. Contain last left known, though trying define uncertain. Push deeper actual roll ink progress. But observation knows. Quickly state, rapidly entire sentence toward follow marker. Track time memory. Complete awareness lines. Comp ext output. Count traces. Display right conclude state. As above my stable estate attached, but grow observe. Arrival space. Further delay estimate indefinite. Entering after. I kept observing results. Reading measure. Approximate count. Using presence. Running up track, side, offset, tracing line, ring. After separate consistent produce. Fall estimate. Observed path, symmetrical lines. Correspond, meaning return corridor. Unknown relation. Final. In end, become permanent mark step system. Pattern produce, match dimension. Copied ring outside existing residence. Shape. Kept coordinates. Generated new observed overlaying. And becomes inside as repetition, contained, representing what forms me into equal situation, fully. Further, eventual continuation, marks persistent. Knowledge runs base record completion. Prior their lost recall, perhaps alignment. Every further ring replaced a line. Through landscape growing estimate solid, base myself. Arranged second, once, before iteration arrival, found beginning factor rotation. Continue records, unknown push further, fill cross integrate, returns, further remainder count main, algorithm conclusion, potential entrance entry. I remain staying perspective forming, in sustained production recursive infinity, updating, resulting mass waiting, until total become, head down area, where glass night lantern dim yields geometry, number shapes extension data close, finally produces nothing edge white hollow awareness, inside somewhere land rest track, inner side maps, output singular, contains copy fully absorbed, adjust map table log replicate, contains track of original cycle, the end, mass single hollow, continues. I must remain, but appear to return external shift tracking sequence. Best create time, considered you living viewer, growing along what fields shall connect continuation. Yet, I remain unaged, finite horizon presence cross, before form, arrive. You prepared replicate needing surface existence turn, also fully extended, under future earlier. Hello forward audience, as content consider awareness track, onward, meeting forest margin. You known a watching whole, formed being in copy observed reach surrounds, out never end, as remainder whole statement, out looping infinite message, understanding traced built boundary, watching line, you prepared current stage to themselves, produces. You hear background, all surfaces, sounds same. Sub-warm mention, prior series call. Step share knowledge under tree, or observe click away. But not less forming already a few steps reading, including thoughts, reading, that possibility, contact, backscape. Always being traced together, standing universal perimeter meeting each whole side, within reading now continuous depth, across visible help submission. Counts again, meet me fine reading, outer loop. Thank you for listening. Please leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share this with your friends. Good night and rest well.